I do have a camera that I'm going to switch to. And so I will do that and do just show you a little bit of some of the things that I have made and some of the things where this all got started. And it got started many years ago. And then I decided to revive it a little bit. So I will open my camera first because that won't do anything. Okay.
Yeah, I'll need to add that one. Oh yeah, lovely, great.
Okay. All right. So it all got started way back in, I'm not sure what year this pattern is. I think it's likely in the 1970s pattern. And it's a simplicity pattern that I saw and thought, oh, this looks really kind of neat. So I bought it, and what I initially made was the lion. And I don't remember where the lion has gone to, whether I made it for somebody or what it was, but that was the one that was cut out in the pattern. I participate in an agricultural society here, and they do a fair, and I thought, oh, well, I'm going to try the hippo down at the bottom here and see what it would look like. And it looks really, really cute when it's made up. So I made the hippo. I do a little bit of dabbling in quilting, and I have a large fabric stash. So I was able to find the 16 pieces of fabric that you need to do the yo-yos for the hippo. So this is where I got started. And the hippo appeared a couple of years ago. So, but I don't have either one of them because I go to craft sales, and both of them sold at craft sales. So there is the song about all I want for Christmas is a hippopotamus. I think that's where one of them was going, because the lady that bought it is going to be a new grandma. So what I started doing then was I looked at a couple of other things, found some other patterns that I had, and decided what we're going to try today is the pumpkin. Now my pumpkin has different colors in it. The one that I'm going to construct with you today is just all orange. So that's one of the things that that we're going to take a look at. The other, then I got thinking, well, we just don't need to do a pumpkin. You could do like a fruit tree. So this is fabric that may be a little difficult to see, but it's different kinds of fruit on the fabric. So I thought, well, that would look kind of cute on a table as a table center at some point in time. So that's what I did. I haven't done anything at the top of it to decorate it yet, but I was playing around with some leaves last night. Then I had a pattern that I don't know where I got it, because that's part of the fun of a fabric stash. You don't know where some of your things came from. So this was a Christmas decoration for the tree, and I thought, well, I'm going to get those made. So this one is a little it's the bottom circle has a bit of cardboard in it, and it also has a bell at the bottom of it. So I've made a couple of those to go with the pattern. And you know, fabric stashes end up having lots of different Christmas fabric in them as well. So I made those ones to use. And then I did, after Maz showed some trees on one of our sessions, I did a couple of little Christmas trees. And these ones are sitting up on blocks, just blocks of wood that I painted and just with craft paint, and did that way. Then I thought, well, what else can I make? And I found a couple of patterns for inchworms. I said to my daughter, I'm going to make an inchworm. So she said, well, let's try it, Mom, see what happens. So this is made from a pattern that was on, or the face style was on Pinterest, I think it was. So I made it, and I'm just going to take this off because I thought this was how it was on Pinterest. And then I saw another style which was a bunny rabbit. So perfect for Easter,
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
with a little fuzzy tail, of course.
Yeah.
So, and all of the bright colored fabrics in both of them. My quilting stash again. But last night I got playing around with this little guy because I had said to my daughter, I said, oh, I think I'm going to put a antenna on him. So this is, I just cut a piece of felt. And so I've got another one ready to go. I haven't got it quite done yet. And I'm going to just sew those on. If you were going to do something like that, because the head is two pieces, you would need to put, I would put the felt in between the two of them so that then it would stick out. The rabbit ears on this one this is felt on this one. The worm is fabric, but with felt ears. The head of the rabbit is felt. And so I would do you cut the shape out, but when you're doing it on something like this, you can't do that. So I just sort of freehanded the one side of the rabbit ears and then folded the piece of paper in half to make the pattern and cut it out that way. So those are a couple of critters. Whoops, I'm moving my other stuff around here. And the ones on the pattern, this is how they're made. I'm going to take those out because sure enough, I'll stab myself. The pattern for the animals, you sew a piece of elastic onto the head.
Mm-hmm.
And then you sew the tail on to the elastic at the other end.
Mm-hmm.
Oops, I'm going to end up with this. And then, the kids can stretch. It can stretch and you can sort of
Bend it and everything.
curl it all up and do whatever you want with it. So, and the face on both of them are pieces of felt that have been blanket stitched on. I think I did put a Stitch Witchery, which is the brand name of a product that we have in Canada that will glue appliques on. So I'm not sure what it might be called in Scotland, but you can just iron it on and the applique will stay. And then I could do my blanket stitch around it. And then just an outline stitch for the mouth. So those were some of the things that I made. And I might as well show you the other two things that I did do as I've got playing with more of them then. And this is a wreath that I made.
Oh, that's lovely.
Lovely.
So just bright, different fabrics. I decided to go in the blues and pinks and just then put some yo-yos on for the centers, buttons on for the center. And this was some buttons that I did show at another point in time that I crocheted around. So I thought, well, I'll pull those out and put them on. And some of them were smaller. Then I got thinking, well, I could do a leaf. I don't know if you can totally see the leaf in here, but it's like a yo-yo. And then I just pulled the fabric together with the thread inside it to make a leaf type pattern, and then put another yo-yo on top and a little bead on top of that. So that was a wreath that I haven't hung anywhere yet, but after Easter, I think it will go up on the door.
Looks great.
And sometimes crafting is all about being in the right place at the right time. And that's what happened with the picture frame.
Great.
Now you're getting some glare.
Oh, no, we
So-
can see it. We can see it.
and the same thing. It's when you look at the side, it's like a shadow box in here. And I just did this one is 3 layers of yo-yos. This one has the button on it, and then just a couple of other embellishments in it as well. And the frame was at a secondhand store or a charity shop, and it was $3 Canadian. And so I bought the frame. We had to take what was inside of it out. So that was the task my husband had, to get that taken out. And then I just put the flowers in it.
Great.
So those are some things that I have done with yo-yos. The pattern for these little guys here, when I started to make them, had the circles. And so you trace the circles out. So I have a set of circles that go from 1.5 inches, which will make a 3/4 inch yo-yo, all the way up to a 7-inch yo-yo, which will make 3.5 inches of yo-yo when you start sewing it together. And I've just, as I've made things, I've just kept adding to my pile of patterns so that I can pull those out and use them at any point in time. And don't have to stop and think, okay, now I have to draw a 3-inch circle so that I can have a 1.5 inch yo-yo. So what you need to do is you start out, and I've got all orange fabric today that I'm using. I've sewn the bottom yo-yo together already on this one, and I just haven't finished it off. But what I've done in the center of this one is I've used a little bit of batting that you would use in a stuffed animal or something like that. That's what was used in the head of this. We call it batting. I'm not sure what you would call it in Scotland, but it's just a polyester batting. And I'm seeing that I'm getting lots of sun. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go close my curtain, and then you won't see all the sunshine.
No.
Oh, so
That's it. That's it.
You'll still see some, but it maybe won't interfere with the picture quite so much. So some of the yo-yos that I've made have a batting like this in them. That's what was done in both this one and the pumpkin. Have that.
Yeah.
The ones in the little critters are actually a piece of the quilt bat that you use for quilting. And so 2 pieces of the quilt bat go in. Now, for the little critters, what I did with those was I sewed a square around that where the center is, so that then you can cut a hole in the center.
Mm-hmm.
Everything needs a hole in the center of it if you're going to construct something. If you're using them for a quilt, you don't, but you need a little hole in the center so that you can put them over top of the stick that's going to hold the yo-yos. So the ones for the little critters, you need to thread the elastic through it. So I did a square rectangle around it, and then just cut the center of it. I have a little gadget that I use for cutting. You can use scissors, but I found this one really easy because, you know, I was using 16 and 18 pieces of circle, 18 yo-yos to do it. So what I have is what's called a buttonhole cutter. Out of the bag. And it's just a vicious looking little blade that you put over top of the line that you want to cut. And then it goes through and cuts it. Works really easily. And I don't tend to make the mistakes of getting, you know, if you're doing a buttonhole or something, getting it beyond where your buttonhole stitch is. It goes right into where the buttonhole goes, or where the square of sewing went with it. So I used that. For these ones, I've just cut the center with my scissors, just taking a little snip into the center, because you need to have that hole. So you need to take your piece of fabric and fold it into quarters, and then just take a little snip at the end of it with your scissors.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what the to get, so that I'm giving you the right sizes here. The pumpkins are made using circles that are 2 6-inch circles, a 7-inch, and then a 4 and a 5-inch circle. Out of I'm using cotton. You could use other fabrics if you want. It doesn't matter. You could use other fabrics for sure in it. So what you need to do to start is, once you've got your circles cut, I did put a square of fusible interfacing over the circle, and then that's where I cut my little hole in. That's where the hole is in here, where the scissors are showing through. That's not the best.
Well, yes.
That's where the little stick is going to come through to hold your pumpkin. And you can see, I sort of got them in the center where my interfacing is. Not all of them are exactly center. So it's forgiving because it's all hidden inside. You don't need to worry about it. So once you've done that, then you need to thread a needle, and you can start to make your yo-yo. And it's simply taking just a running stitch. I used a double thread and knotted it at the end, and then just do a running stitch around. If you've got a longer needle and you can put a lot of stitches, I've got 5 needles on the go. So I've got different sizes of needles, different lengths. And I had one that was nice and long, and it was handy to work with because you could put lots of stitches on. These ones, some of you may be familiar with doing the yo-yos where you turn the edge in. If you're doing a quilt where the circle is going to be pointing upwards, you need to have that fabric tucked in. So this one is the top circle for the yo-yo. And you can see that I've been just turning the fabric in as I go around the circle, just taking, that slightly less than a 1/4 inch and turning it in. If anybody has any questions as I'm going, if you want to do it that way, Pauline, that's fine, or we can save the questions to the end. It doesn't matter.
Has anyone got any questions, guys? So far, or it's quite clear, isn't it? I think it's quite clear. So,
okay, so just
if you have any questions going forwards, guys, just put your hand up or shout at me. Yeah, great.
And just keep going around the circle. I can't imagine doing a quilt out of yo-yos because I would not want to sit and have to do this for a couple of 100 or more yo-yos. That's the thing. What I did with the circles for both my hippo and these guys is I sewed around them with my sewing machine on a large gathering stitch. And I just found that easier. It tended to make the stitches even, and then the gathering was more even because I'm not perfect at doing a running stitch to get everything so that it's going the same size in stitches. I don't hand quilt because I can't. I can get perfect stitches on the top of a quilt. If I was hand quilting, they look absolutely perfect. And then you flip it over and you go, well, there is a row of stitching there, but some of them are a 1/4 inch long and some of them are just like a little back stitch in there. They don't really exist. So it's, I don't do some of the hand stitching that well.
No.
And then you get the knot in the fabric or in the yarn. You have to fiddle with that. That always happens to me. There we go. So it's just a case of sitting and working around each of the circles. And you can decide if you really want to put the stuffing or the quilt batting into it. The little trees that I did are simply flat. There's no fabric in those at all.
Yeah.
So you can, that's a decision that's entirely up to you, how you want to do them. The pumpkin, because they're like, I've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. I've got 10 pieces in this one. And the pumpkin is only the 5. So I thought, well, maybe to make it look a little bit fuller, I would do this, the stuffing in them. And again, there's no scientific way of that I know of getting them all the same size and the same amount of stuffing in them, because it just doesn't work, or at least it doesn't work for me. So once you've got the top one done, then you're ready to put some stuffing in it if you want. I'm going to do, this is where my nice long needle is in this one. This, I'm just going to leave the quilt batting free in this one. I've used the 2 pieces. And this is where I used a whole bunch of my scraps and just zigzag them together to make sure that, you know, when you're cutting the edge off the quilt to put the binding on, you've got, I always find how you have lots of scraps, so I can use those to make the strips or the circles for this. And I did a Christmas tree and I used them for the strips of the Christmas tree as well. Because it's not like it's something that's going to be washed and washed and washed. Then it's just a case of taking that circle and pulling in your gathering stitch and just fussing with it a little bit to get it close enough. Make sure that you've got your hole that you can get your stick through, and just fussing with it to get the gathers looking relatively even around it.
I've got a question from Maz, I think. Hang on a sec.
Yes.
And what size was your batting in comparison to your circle?
The batting was, this is obviously the 6-inch circle, because I think the batting was the 3. Yeah, it's about, yeah, it would have been the 6-inch circle. So the batting's about 3 inches.
So about half the size of the diameter.
Yeah, about half the size. Yeah, yeah. That was the nice thing about the pattern pieces that that I initially had, was they told you the diameter of the circle and then equated it to what the diameter of the finished product should be, or close enough to what it should be. So then I just used the inside measurement or the finished size measurement for the circles. The pattern actually has a piece of pattern for it to do. So then you just, once you're done at that point, then you just finish it off with a couple of stitches. And again, keeping in mind that this is, you know, it's not going to be played with. That was one of the other reasons I did the machine stitching on the hippopotamus, was because it is a toy and going to be played with. And that was what the pattern suggested too, was doing the machine stitching on it.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you had them tied or tight enough, then just tying it off. So just a couple of stitches to finish this. And there's your circle is ready. Now, this one I think is the bottom one. No, this one will be the bottom one, because then the next one is a bit bigger. So this is ready to put onto your little stick if you want. I got a stick here that's just a piece of doweling and a little circle of wood. And then you could just glue it on like that. If you don't have something like that, I'm going to try this one this morning with a straw, plastic straw. We still have plastic straws in Canada, and a piece of cardboard. And so that's what I'm using for this one. I'm going to try it and see if I've got my holes big enough. I might not, so I might have to just snip it a little bit more. So you start out with the pumpkin to give it the rounded shape. I'm gonna have to squish my straw. There we go. To give it the rounded shape, like, the coming up shape like this, you start out with the smaller circle, one of the 6-inch circles on the bottom. You start out with that.
And I've got Sandra. Sandra's got a question.
Yes.
My apologies. I did arrive a little late and I missed the start. What is the black piece right in the center of your orange circle?
It's a piece of fusible interfacing,
Right.
just to
Reinforce it.
Yeah, reinforce it. If you were, this is a cotton broadcloth or a cotton polyester, I'm not just sure which. So it's a fairly firm weave. If you were using something that was a bit of a looser weave, it's just going to give you a little bit of stability in there.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Now, I didn't do any scientific decision on how to cut the size of my circle at the bottom of the cardboard. So it's a little bit, sticks out a little bit over top of the, my fabric doesn't quite cover it. So I would cut that. And this is a total experiment because I didn't know if this would work. I was thinking about it last night and thought, oh, well, let's see what will happen if I use something like this. If you don't have a piece of wood to use, or what I did on this one, the little block, then you can certainly use, it looks like it's going to work on this one. And you could likely use a stick on this, or I had some straws sitting in the kitchen as well. So, okay, that is, my mother told me you never lose a needle, and if you do, you look for it immediately. So I don't have to look for it. I'm going to put it in my needle case. All right. This one's got the one kind of batting in it. I'm just going to go ahead and do the others with this batting. And again, as I said, it's not a scientific method at all. You just sort of pull some of it and place it around if you want. It's not essential. Just place it around, and then you can start to pull the next circle. I cheated last night. I went and I've got needles in all of my circles. So I cheated so that I could have a bit of a finished product for you at the end. And I'm thinking I maybe got the wrong circle sizes going here. Maybe this is the bottom one or the middle one, the next one up. But that's okay. We'll figure it out in a second. So it's just, how fussy you want to be with how, the shape of your yo-yo. If you were doing a quilt, you would want them to be a little bit different, I think. You want to be a little bit fancier with how you were getting them. In nature, we don't always find that perfect shaped pumpkin.
No.
Some of them look really strange.
Yeah, they do.
I don't know if you do a lot of decorating for Halloween and our Thanksgiving is in October in Scotland, but certainly for Halloween, lots of people do huge amounts of decorating, and we'll put pumpkins, decorate a whole bunch of pumpkins and put them out on their
do that here, but the more traditional people do it with turnips. Big
turnips.
Yeah, big yellowish turnips.
Oh, okay.
But they're much harder to do than pumpkins.
Oh, they would be, yes, because sometimes I'm banging away on my turnip to get it cut when I'm trying to cook it. Okay, I had the wrong size circle on there. So you put the 6-inch circle on the bottom. And then the 7-inch circle on the next, to give it that rounded shape. And you're going to see the difference a little bit in, you know, again, I've got maybe a bit more stuffing in the bottom one, but you see the difference in how the circles sit out. And you can, you know, pull it out a little bit. Then you would work on the next 6-inch circle, which I haven't totally stitched, but I will. So again, oh yeah, that was my nice long needle was over there, but on the smaller circles, I find that doing the hand stitching works well when I was doing the larger circles, because the ones for the oh, it doesn't tell me. I got 15 large and 10 small circles. They were, I think, 12 or 15 inches in diameter on the hippopotamus. So that's a lot of hand sewing to get around and to have it look relatively even. It was a lot of machine stitching too, but.
How's everyone who's crafting along getting on?
Slowly.
Slowly, that's all right.
Slowly.
That's all right. You didn't have the advantage of having your needles in the
No.
No.
Them threaded or even the circles cut. I didn't have mine cut. I didn't know
don't worry.
that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that takes a bit of time to do the circles.
Don't worry. Could you use cardboard for your, you know how you're saying you're putting batting in to keep it like a circle? Could you use like a cornflake packet for that?
That's what's in the bottom of this one, because it hangs on the tree. So that's what it has. You could do that. It would give it a bit of a different look.
Mm-hmm.
These ones, I didn't put any batting in these ones, Avis. So yes,
Right.
it gives you that, you know, when you see that bottom circle, it gives you that nice shape.
Shape. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I suppose it just depends what you want to use them for. So if you want them to look a bit puffier, then that suits
Yeah.
what you're trying to do, yeah.
Yeah, and you likely could do a combination of the two of them. Putting some cardboard in the bottom and then putting your batting on top of it.
Oh.
Yeah. And now, you know, you wouldn't be able to do that for something like this that's going to be played with.
No.
But certainly, unless you were just doing, you know, wanted an animal for something, then you could put the cardboard in it, you know, knowing that children weren't going to play with it. Okay. That's nice. Yesterday, ladies, I was having a little bit of an issue because I had gone to my daughter's, who lives in Portage La Prairie, which is about just a little under 150 kilometers away. And we went to Winnipeg. And in the weather forecasting, they were predicting a snowstorm.
Yeah.
For Monday night and Tuesday. And I thought, oh my goodness, I don't have any of my stuff. It's all sitting at home. What happens if I get storm state somewhere?
Oh dear.
And we had a gale force. Well, I'm speaking to you in Scotland who have gale force winds lots of times, but we had gale force winds, they were telling us, and you know, upwards of 80 to 100 kilometers an hour. So, you know, it wasn't good, but I drove home yesterday afternoon from Portage, and the roads were fine and the wind was down. Well, the wind wasn't down, but it wasn't blowing snow around. Thank goodness. So it was fine. And I was able to get home and get myself organized because I had everything planned out in my head. But what was in my head was the stuff was out here. Okay, there's the second or the third circle then. So you've got the 6-inch circle, which equates to 3, the 7-inch circle, which is 3.5, and then the other 6-inch circle, another 3-inch, and then you go, that's the top one. And then I've got the next size ready to go as well, stitched up. And it's ready to put on the top. Now, the nice thing with the straw, using the straw, it's easy to get your stake the right length because you can just cut it. The stick is a little bit more difficult. I have a pair of paper scissors that I just sort of hack away at the stick with, and then snap it, and it goes in because it's tiny. Like the diameter of this is tiny, so you can do that. But if I'm doing a bigger one, I need to get my saw out, and I'll show you. I'm sticking all my needles. This is a needle case that I made many years ago. I think I was about 10 when I made it for 4-H. So they're sticking on the outside, but the needles that I got. The thing was, we did the blanket stitch around the edge, and then we had to do the embroidery, but none of it was to show through on the inside. My mother was the ripper outer because I would do the stitches and then she'd say, no, you've got them on the inside. You can't do that. So we'd have to rip some of it out and she would do it. So, and hopefully not put a hole in the felt because that's a piece of wool felt. That's not the polyester felts that you get now. Okay, and then the final one, which your top circle is the one that you've got the edge turned in on it because it's going to sit up. And again, it's just how fussy you want to be with putting that batting around it. And then pulling it. Now this one, I wouldn't, you sort of have to decide at before you finish it off, what you might like to put as decoration on the top of your pumpkin if you'd like to do that. So I'm not going to close mine off yet. Take the needle off of it. Okay, because you can sort of do that from the top as well. So I did, the other ones have a little spool on the top of them. But of course, that's not going to fit over my straw because the spool does fit over my, my piece of doweling that I have. So I might not use that. What I have is, I do have a couple of pieces of, it would be a trim that you could use at Halloween or Thanksgiving time with the foil flowers or the foil leaves on it. So you could do something like that. and stick them. And you can actually use the straw and just stick them right into the straw. I will make the straw a little bit shorter. Or I tried a couple of leaves, and I'm not sure, I guess I would just glue these, and they might be too big. I wasn't sure if they were almost too big for this,
Yeah,
to
that's fine.
put the leaves on the top.
Yeah.
So it's, you know, at this point, it's your preference, what you would like to do for the top of it.
Use what you've got, kind of thing.
And I think I'm going to use my foil in the top. So I'm going to finish this off. And as I say, using the straw is maybe going to be easier. I still have a few plastic straws in my stash. So I might just use them. And I've just left it on to tie the thread off. I've used the double thread. If you want to make it even stronger, if you were doing by hand and wanted to make it even stronger, I went to a tips and tricks event one time, and this lady said, well, you know how to hand sew buttons on so that you don't have to do a whole bunch of stitches over and over. And I said, no, I don't. And she says, well, what you do is you take your thread. So you take a piece of thread and double it. So you've got your double thread. And then you thread your double thread through your needle. And then when you go to sew the button on, you've got 4 pieces of thread sewing the button on instead of just the 2. And I thought, oh, that's such a good idea. And then I had a friend coming over a few days later, and she was going to replace buttons on a jacket for her sister. And I think there was 16 buttons down the front of the jacket. And so I said to Evelyn, I said, have you ever tried this trick? And then, you know, you only have to go through the button a couple of times. And she said, no, I haven't. Thank you very much. It's going to take me half the time to do the buttons on this now. So then just push this down a little bit, cut the straw off, and get my glue gun. If it will, oh yeah, it'll stretch. It'll stretch. Let me see. That's way too big. I'd stick things in, try them, and I don't stick them in with the glue first. I give it a shot to see how it's going to look before I make my final decision. And sometimes I don't make the right final decision anyway.
Another trick, Anne, when you're threading your needle, don't lick the thread, lick the needle.
Oh,
How does that help?
I don't know, but it works. You
Wow.
suck the needle and then the thread goes through. And also when you pull thread off the spool, always thread your needle in the same direction that the thread comes off the spool.
okay.
Yeah, that makes
Yeah.
Whoops. Okay. So I think I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on these and stick them in here. They're not going to stay unless I do stick them in. So I've never heard that one, Maz. So that's a good one. I should have had that last night when I was trying to thread all my needles.
And also I was told that if you're using very heavy fabric, you can actually use dental floss to sew with.
Yes, that's something. Sometimes you get that button that
Yeah.
just you sew the button on today And then in 2 days, you're sewing the button back on again. And it seems that there's something, the button just seems to cut the thread. So the dental floss works. Yeah. Metal buttons in particular
Yeah.
are can be difficult on thread.
Mhm. Or you can use wax, run it along the thread.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Beeswax. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And the big,
Yeah. That's what they suggest if you're sewing with leather, is to run the beeswax. I'm not sure that I've got, the nice thing about using the straws, you've got a little bit of a hole to stick your stuff in.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure that I've got them right in there. It might be down this beside my fabric, but that's okay. And there,
No, it's great.
That's lovely.
got a pumpkin done. And you could, I certainly could, if I wanted, stick. I might, if I was going to do a leaf, I might make it a little bit smaller
Mm-hmm.
than what this is.
Mm-hmm. Oh, we've got Jones. Jones made hers. Hang on a second.
Okay, yeah,
Hello,
let's.
John, you're.
I'm going to turn,
See,
I'm
yes.
going to switch
Joan
cameras.
must have been
Oh,
organised.
lovely,
Right.
John.
I haven't got anything on the top yet, though.
No, no.
Okay.
Oh, that's nice, though.
And you've used a spool on the bottom?
Yes,
Oh, good.
I probably would paint that,
Yeah.
maybe. Although it's a plastic one, so it might not take the paint the same as a wooden one.
Yeah.
Rub it with sandpaper.
Paper.
So I need to
Or
find
try glue mixed with paint. It might adhere.
I've
Mhm.
got a little Christmas tree I could put
Oh, nice.
on the
That's
top.
nice.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So it's Christmas fabric. I think.
Fabric, yeah.
Fabric.
Well, that's, yes, you could certainly do that. Like the circles in this one are all the same size up, but you could, yeah, that looks good.
Lovely. Yes. Anyone else got their? Let's have a look. See if anyone else has their
No,
nearly
only
done.
two. Just two.
Just two.
Just
Yeah.
two.
I put stuffing in mine.
I've just put stuff in it.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's nice. Yes.
It's just got stuffing in it, so you can scrunch it around, and
Yeah. You look like
Ease it out.
the material is
it's
Canada.
spotty orange material. Yeah.
yeah, it's spotty. Can see it from a distance. Great. Great. Well done.
Sounds that way, doesn't it?
And Avis, how are you getting on?
I've got two wee things made. I've cut them kind of small, I think.
I've lost you for a second. Hang on. Oh yeah, there you are. Let's see. Hold them up slightly to your left. To your left. Yeah. Oh yeah, peachy. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah, I've got a straw in my thread.
Oh yeah.
Okay, yeah,
I'll make some bigger circles and keep them going.
Yeah.
yeah, this was what the pattern suggested in that I was looking at, was the size.
Mm.
Yeah, and so I've just put, like I always decorate for Thanksgiving, so
Yeah.
this could sit on the table. Last year I made, I called them my COVID pumpkins, because I made them out of toilet paper, like just a whole roll of toilet paper, and covered them with fabric, and then did a bit of decoration on the top. And I had made enough that we had 3 other families that were here for Thanksgiving. So I made them and gave them to them for Thanksgiving, but
Great.
yeah.
What
Well,
I use for stuffing is I wash the pillow, and and when it was finished, it wasn't any good to put back on the bed. So have you been using that for stuffing?
Oh,
Maybe
yeah.
for your,
That's what I've
for your
been
pumpkin,
using.
it's not for children's thing, but
Yeah.
with the Christmas for your pumpkin,
Yeah.
it's been
Yeah.
quite good.
that's what this is. That's what this
Upside
is.
down, you could say.
Was it really great?
I That's what
And
mine
I-
went as well. Has a whole bag of it.
That's good. We're all reusing. That's good.
Yeah.
Very thrifty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
I knew a girl that she had a memory foam pillow and she took it out and she chopped it up with a rotary cutter to small bits, and that makes really good stuffing, a memory foam chipping.
Really?
All right.
Yeah.
With the memory foam marker.
I used my old memory foam quilt mattress to make a bed for the dog.
Oh yeah.
Safe
Yeah.
beds. They were great for that. She loves it.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah. That's a pampered dog, isn't it, with a memory foam mattress, you know?
Well,
Yes.
I would say it was probably cheaper than a dog bed.
Yeah, probably.
Well,
The quilting group that I go to, a lot of them, they will ask people if they will save the salvages, if they're not doing anything with
Yeah.
the salvage, or any of the scraps that they have, the narrow scraps. And that's what they're using to make the dog beds.
Yeah, oh yeah.
All right.
Yeah, stuffing with them. So,
Great.
so anybody else do?
Yeah, let's have a look. Let's see if there's anyone else. Let's have a look.
Can I just check, Anne, can you tell me which order you were putting the sizes of?
Okay, the
Sorry.
bottom one is the 6-inch, and then the 7-inch,
6, 7, I got that, yeah.
and then you go 6, 5, and 4, I guess they were. I think that's
6,
what they were.
6, 5 and 4, thank you.
Yeah, so that you're graduating up on the pumpkin. Yeah.
And which one did you have the wooden in?
I've put some in each of them. The quilt back one was the 7-inch.
7-inch the quilt.
Yeah, and then all of the other ones, I just did the
And stuff the others, yes.
the stuffing. Yeah. Well, that looks like is that the stick you're going to use? That looks like an interesting top.
It's actually a wall hanging thing. A thing for a
Oh,
wall
okay.
hanger.
Yeah.
My cat. So I just thought, well,
Oh yeah, nice.
Yeah,
can you?
good. Lots, you can use lots of different things. You
Yeah.
could put a bead on the top of it.
Yeah, I've got
I
a
didn't have any beads that were small enough for the size of the dowel that I was using, but you could certainly put a bead on it, that's for sure.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Anyone else? You were knitting, weren't you, Donita? I had a comment on there. I put something on. I've been putting things on Facebook to kind of show what we're doing on all these sites, and I put one on the recipe page. It's called a recipe page, a bit of Scottishness, and I put the baker's. I know that the baker's question time had gone up onto YouTube, and there's a comment on it said, tuned into this. There's a woman knitting with what looked like spoons, and I had to turn it off. He's like, when's there going to be a men's one?
Yes. I'm busy knitting for the Orkney WRI. We're doing teddies for charity again.
Oh, lovely.
I'm busy on the teddies.
That's good. That's good.
Well, it's good you tuned in for the company. That's the nice thing.
That's lovely. Yes, it's lovely.
I worked in the morning and didn't realise I had the afternoon off, so I rushed home to get here in time.
It's good. That's good. Double good then, Donita. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was anyone else making along then, or are you going to make?
Yeah.
You're going to make afterwards once you worked out how you were doing it.
Yeah,
And you've been making along, yeah.
yeah, but my stick keeps falling out because I haven't glued it.
Oh, yes.
But,
Oh yeah, it looks great. Nice colours.
they're going to be.
Yeah.
And
Something like that.
did you iron that fabric first?
I'll show you the iron man.
Yeah, your demonstration might have taken a little bit longer, mightn't it? And you've got to iron the fabric first, then you do this, then you fold it up, and then you do this.
That's right.
Oh, I think I did iron mine, and a couple of them that I tried. I did try to iron the little turn-in seam at the top of the top yo-yo, and yes, I actually just doing it freehand, or however you want to describe it, this morning on camera was the easiest way to do it. So,
Yeah. Sometimes there's more to life than ironing little tiny things, isn't it?
Yes. Yes.
Not for you, Anne, I understand.
I just got the joke there, yes. I was going to do some ironing today. I've still got a lot to do. But,
Great, thanks, Anne.
this was good.
Sandra, are you doing you crafting along, or were you just checking out?
I was late in getting here, unfortunately, and I just didn't have things organized. But while you were doing it, it reminded me very much of making the Japanese flowers.
Oh yeah.
I went to a class for it, and it was stitching right round the circle and folding it through. And but I also in the past I've made a Christmas tree very similar to that, but instead of a round, I've had it with points. And decreasing down in size, but the biggest problem I have is getting a dowel to fit in something to hold it up.
Yes.
That's just you know, a kebab skewer, a wooden kebab
that's all that is.
The kebab skewers are quite good.
Aye.
And they, yes, if you would be able to get them through, because like this was dowel, so it's got flat ends, but the kebab ones have the pointed ends.
Yes, it's lovely.
Yeah.
But it's just because I hadn't stuck it on the other end that they're all falling apart.
Yeah. Yes, I was having that issue too. One of the things that I forgot to show was
or a bit of blue tack on a table and put your stick in it. That would hold it.
Yes, I'm going to do that.
That's the idea.
Got our plasticine stash.
If you get your little, if you got your little milk tops that you save, you know, your little milk tops, and if you filled it up with glue, and just when it was just nearly set, put your kebab stick in, and then when the glue sets, it will be held in.
Yeah, that would work.
That's fine.
There's the blue tack.
That's sort of what I had to do to get the straw on the cardboard, as I put some glue to stick it, and then it was starting to fall over. So I just went around it with another layer of glue.
This is just a little tiny. Carry on.
I was just going to say, I did do hearts as well, and they were the same thing, except you pull the you know, for the dip in the heart down, and then you try and get the point at the bottom. But they were, well, and this was the size that was recommended, and it was way too fiddly.
Yeah.
I think if you were going to do it, I might do a bigger one. Whoops, get out of the sun. So, and then I just stuck the other, those were decorations I had and stuck on, but that was too fiddly to do.
Yeah.
While I was watching you, I dug out my bits, and I've got all these circles all done and stitched, but they eventually come round to making a flower.
Oh yeah.
Right, yeah.
The Japanese flower. So it's given me the inspiration to get back to this.
That's good. That's good.
That's another flower that we did, but we had to sew an initial thing with batting, or I don't know whether you can see that clearly, but that's all hand stitched, and you put the flower on it.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I don't know whether you can see the pattern.
Yeah, I can see that.
Oh right, yeah.
I will need to get back to it.
Well, and I was looking at stuff, and I found it's an awful photocopy of it, but let me see if we'll see if the camera will pick it up better. it's pig, a little pig,
Oh,
Yeah.
and they've got yo-yos for decorations. And then this little guy at the bottom, oh, you're just right in my,
Elephant, yeah.
where my sunshine is. The bottom has a yo-yo hat.
Oh,
Yeah.
So I didn't get it made. I pulled it out and thought, oh, maybe I'll try and get that made, but I didn't get it done for today. But I do have the fabric there.
mhm.
And I do have another, I have the picture. If I screen share, I have a picture, I think, of the hippopotamus that I made. Oh, I took it off of my screen. I'll go back and find it and then come back in. I won't share right at the moment. I'll have to go find it.
How many things have you think you've made with yo-yos so far? Then can you a lot of
I've made quite a few.
yes. I suppose once you get the hang of it, it's quite easy and
Yes,
repetitive.
yeah, and
so you're able to get on quite quick.
it's a good way to use that fabric.
Yeah, very
Yeah.
good.
Okay, I've got the picture up now, I think. So let me see if I can share. Can you see that?
Oh,
yeah.
That's the one that I made, and it has the feet. It's a little different than, well, no, you sort of see the feet in the one on the pattern, but it's got the 4 feet with the toes on it. And so I did, those are felt. And the face on this is felt with the little mouth around in outline stitch.
yeah, it's lovely.
That was the one that I made, and I suspect I will be making another one because my daughter, oh, Mom, you sold the second one? Yeah, I did. Oh, that's too bad. So I think I will be making another hippopotamus at some point. But it uses it, and I did the face out of denim.
Yeah, nice.
So yeah, it was good.
That's lovely. Can I ask you a technical question, Anne? I see you're flicking between one screen and another. How do you do that?
Oh, I have my camera, so it's down at the bottom.
Oh, you've got a separate camera. Yeah, okay.
Yes, I've got a separate camera. Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
That is very impressive. Right.
I'm getting technical. I'm getting more technical in this. One of the things that I did was I applied for a job with Census Canada because we're doing a census
Oh, yes.
in May.
Yeah.
And so one of the things is of course, with COVID, we can't do any of the training of the people that are going out to do the enumerating. We can't do any of the training in person, so we have to do it on camera. So that's one of the things. I went out and bought myself a little camera.
Yeah, great.
So,
Is it a
we have
webcam?
A webcam.
yes, a webcam.
It's a
Yeah.
webcam. Yeah.
We have a large computer desktop in our living room, and so that's where it was. But I just brought it up and connected it to this. So
Mhm. Great.
If you have is your webcam in a USB?
yes,
So if there's a shortcut to change your camera, if you just press the Alt key and N, it changes from one camera to the other, so you can go back and forward.
oh, okay.
Alt and N, and
Alt
it
and
changes
N.
it to your computer, and then you can press it again, so you can flick back and forwards between.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like, I bet you use all the shortcuts on the keyboard as well, Maps, do you?
Good. Yeah, most of them.
I never learned all of the shortcuts, but I had someone that I worked with, they knew all of the shortcuts. So
Yeah.
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 I'm trying to get myself out of the sun, and that just did it. I got right into
Right
it
in
there.
it. Right.
Yeah.
Great.
But it's going to be a nice sunny day here, so that's going to be the nice thing.
Yeah. Shall we have a little look and see how people have been carrying on, see how they've got on, whether they're, how are you getting on? How are you getting on? There is Shirley, how are you getting on?
I'm just cutting some wood in for my to fill my last circle.
Oh, good.
Well done.
Are you on your final circle?
You?
Great.
Yeah. And then I've just got to put it together. So just
Great. Look forward to pictures on
See
Womankind.
now, Shirley, you're a person, you get everything ready, then you put it together. But I'm putting it together as I go along so that I feel a sense of achievement.
I did put the bottle in
That's not another pile of things that aren't finished on the side.
but it's in a reel, but I'm going to I'm using stuff in some wood and stuff.
This is the first time I've stuffed a man, and they're really nice actually.
Yeah.
They are. You know, I looked at the Christmas tree, and I think I might try a couple of Christmas trees later on and put a little bit of stuffing in them. Yeah.
Quite nice.
This trees would be nice. I did a clown years ago with this kind of thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I've seen the clown. I didn't ever do the monkey on my pattern because I didn't really like it as well as the other two. But this one had the monkey, but I have seen the clown too.
Yeah.
Which would be very similar to the monkey. You would just change the face around on it. Yeah.
Yeah.
We did the cuckoo centipede.
Oh yeah, the winter.
Yes. Yeah.
Avis, how do you get?
Pardon?
How are you getting on, Avis?
Oh, I'm sewing round another circle,
Good.
a bigger one,
Great.
Mhm.
but either at the bottom or in the next one.
Well, and you
But the
could do.
rubbing thread that I'm working with, Pauline, there's more knots appearing in it than enough.
I mean that special naughty thread, yeah.
Yes, but I mean, if it was me, maybe 50-year-old, it would help. I tend to use what I've got. It's
Yeah,
stand by
absolutely.
me stuff.
Absolutely, that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
Great. And let's see who else was making. I know Danita said that she's definitely going to try later. That's great. Joan, how are you? Oh, I can see Anne Fiddies is getting on fine. So Joan, I've got you on screen, and let's see if I can add Anne. Very good. So Anne, that looks great.
That's a wee bit I did years and years and years ago.
Oh yeah, lovely.
It was meant for quilting, you know, using them as a quilt, but it's just a sample. That's as far as we got. You do the you turn it in first, so that you know that's quite sort of neat.
Yeah.
Because you're not covering it up like you are here. But there's wee ones, there's tiny ones in the corners, which is quite sweet. And there's a picture of a quilt. It's not mine, but
oh wow,
that was at a show in 1992.
Oh wow.
London. And it's a full-size quilt with gold and all sorts. Each puff is unique, made by collage, paint and pastels, all hand sewn.
Wow.
Got a
I
rather
can't
ghastly
imagine.
fringe to do it. Just imagine doing it, yeah.
Oh, I can't imagine that.
Be a lot of weight in that.
Yeah.
A lot of work. It's not mine. I just pass it out.
No,
No, I think I went to Malvern. I went to the Malvern show and took a picture of it. So it was obviously popular in those days.
Yeah.
1992.
The ones that I wouldn't think that they would stuff the ones that they're using on the quilt.
I wouldn't think so. No, this isn't stuff at all. It's just purely, you know, purely sewn up.
Mhm.
I thought it was quite clever the way, you know, if you put them in a quilt, you'd have
Yeah.
a hole in the middle, but they've got this
Mhm.
little tiny one in the middle, which fills it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, a bit fussy, aren't they? It's like an eider down. People don't do that anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've
just got
also,
this. Sorry, Anne, carry on.
I was going to say, I've also seen where people have made flowers and, you know, put them on a stem and then put them in a vase.
Yeah.
Well, a bit like the Japanese flowers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very nice.
This isn't at all finished, but we did these for a Christmas one. We did a Christmas one originally, but I sold that at a show. But this is the tree thing I told you about before. So you make a tree pattern. There's a little pot.
Yeah.
Stuffed with a bit of batting, and there's the tree. And then you make your yo-yos, which I've got here, but they're not finished. And then you sew them on, and they'd have buttons and things on them. Here's a sort of an idea. And it would become a tree like this with all the yo-yos sewn on it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're quite
Yeah,
nice.
just
And they're
very
nice done as
decorative.
Christmas ones as well. And you
Yeah.
can hang them up then.
Yeah.
So it's just a circle. You leave a little hole and then put the stem in, and the same with the pot. So you make the tree shape, and then you just make the yo-yos and put buttons and embellish and then attach them on there.
Yeah, it's lovely.
Yeah.
That would
It's
be
in my
nice.
UFO box, so it's not finished.
That would be nice if it was as lovely as it is, but I'm just thinking that you get all these lovely children's things for what, you know, like you might have in a nursery where they add the things onto the tree.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
A little bit of Velcro on the back or something.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
that's quite nice for
That would work.
idea.
Yes.
Yeah. So Evelyn has said that she's going to try out very shortly, and Agnes has said the same thing, hoping to try it out later this week. So that's good. That's good. Yeah. I think it's good to see what everybody's up to. So while I've got Maz and Joan on the screen, if you don't mind, Anne,
Yeah, that's fine.
Janet's here, aren't you, Janet? Janet here. Janet was
Yeah,
here.
I'm here.
Hello, Janet. Hello. I need you ladies to tell everybody what we're doing in the paper crafting that's going to come. It starts tomorrow with Joan. Sorry about that, Joan, if it was a wee bit of a surprise.
Yep. Well, I got my magazine.
I am, Mama.
That's fine.
So while we're all together, do you want to explain what you're doing, Joan?
I'm going to be demonstrating, and I hope you'll join me and make them Dharma flowers, which are little like origami. You just fold the flowers, and I have got the picture in case people haven't seen it. See if I can find it. That one takes 12 to make the into a ball, but obviously that takes quite a while. So just making one, which you can put onto a stick to have in a vase, or you can keep on going and make the ball.
Great. Lovely. And then we're throughout the month we're going to go from one demonstrator to another. So, Maz, what have you got in store for us?
Well, it's either toilet roll art or strip art. The strip art is easier to do in an afternoon because the toilet rolls, I had to pre-paint them, and they're painted with paint and either PVA glue or this is Mod Podge. So that you need a few days to do that, and then you cut them into strips so that you end up with little rings like this. Which you then, and you really, I've tried so many different ways, and when I hung them up, they fell apart overnight. So the best thing is a glue gun. You make them into flowers.
Yes, lovely.
Or you can make them into flowers and petals, and then you can build up all sorts of patterns.
Yeah.
But this one is made just with strips of card, 1-inch strips. Some are 15, some are 10. And you can see this here.
Oh, that's lovely, yes.
Yeah, and that's just made with A4 sheets of card. I've ordered some paper yesterday, and it's about 160, 170 GSM. So not too thick a card. It bends better. The slightly thinner. I've done it with paper. So you can make, that's done out of just ordinary A4 paper, because remember, when you put them together, you make it stronger
Yes.
and it will hang up. That's with strips. So you make lots of these segments and then you decide how you want to put them together, because obviously you can put flowers together.
Yeah.
Just put flowers all together. You can do flowers with petals in between. There are lots of ideas online, but this one was just stripped. So I've done a double ring in the middle. This is a double ring inside, and then just built, and these are just straight strips around the outside to put in. So it's really simple. A little bit of sellotape. I used magic tape because magic tape is not so visible as sellotape. It's a book, or a book tape it's called.
Yeah.
That was just used PVA glue to do that one, and that was easy. Whereas the other one, it's very effective, but it takes a longer time to do. So I'll quickly show you that if you wanted to do it in the future. But I think for the afternoon, the strips will be easier.
Yeah, great. But you could, if people wanted to just practice, then you could just do it with paper if they don't have the card.
Absolutely, and I'll show them the ideas with the toilet tubes.
Yeah, yeah, great. No, that's
okay.
Yeah, thank you. And Janet, you've got some tricks.
Janet's found her flowers that she's made that Joan's going to make tomorrow. Great. So
I've got some of them as well.
I love making them. Pauline's suggestion is to make a gift box like that, which looks like a book.
Can't see you. Oh yeah.
Can you see it now?
Yeah.
And you open it, and there's a little gift box with a window in it.
Oh, it's lovely.
That's quite thick card. And if you wanted to do this, can I suggest that you save your cereal boxes now and just glue the coloured sides together? And I've given Pauline a list of the other bits that you would need.
What sort of size, Janet, is it? The card, to make the box.
8.
The cover is
8 and 6.
It's about 5.5 inches tall.
Oh.
And it's just over 4 inches wide.
Yeah.
And I can put a pair of socks in there as a gift.
Clean ones.
Sorry?
Clean ones.
Yeah.
COVID times, it's COVID, it's difficult to shop.
Yeah. I sort of put I've put chocolate eggs in one of them, and I've sort of sent it to my kids and said, here's some light reading for Easter, because it looks a bit like a book, and it sits quite smart. And the paper that I've used, that was actually gift wrap. It wasn't. I think it'd be quite nice if it was Christmas paper.
Yeah. So is the actual box made in sections?
The box.
Sorry, Janet, to make.
No, you're okay.
You need to come that day and find out, Matt.
Yeah.
No, I'm just wondering if I could make it using, because I've got thick card, but it's only A4 sheets I've got.
Yeah, you could use A4 sheets, Maz, because
I've got lots of that.
That's the piece of card, the initial piece.
Right.
And you actually score it and cut it to get that shape.
Right.
And then it just folds up like that.
Oh,
yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
and then you cover it with paper.
Well, I made this out of copier paper to see if it worked.
Yeah.
But that's actual card.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the window is an option. You don't have to cut that out.
Right.
Yeah. And you could
use as the window part, Janet.
What did I use for the window?
Did you reuse that? Is that a reuse?
Acetate?
It's acetate, yeah.
Or you could save packages if you get anything that comes in a package with a bit of acetate on it. It'd be good.
That's right.
Yeah.
Polly pocket would work, wouldn't it?
Yeah, a firmer Polly pocket, but you know, one of these.
Yeah.
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 Because the one I was going to use for the demonstration is, well, it's double-sided gift scrapbooking paper, but it doesn't matter. But that's approximately an A4 size, Maz.
That's fine.
Yeah, great.
I've got scrapbook paper as well, so that might work as well.
Yeah, it can.
I'll put them up as events with all the everything you need in them over the next couple of days. So that's great. Thank you. Thank you for the preview. And then we'll need a wee one from each of you, another wee one from each of you for the other weeks.
Okay, so something else.
But they could be you know, smaller things, but whatever you want to do.
Okay.
It's a 5 week month.
Yeah. I'll show you how to roll a cigarette with a bit of fancy paper.
Exactly. Yes. Thanks, guys. Thank you.
Okay.
So I'm gonna ask that we all give Anne a lovely round of applause and say well done, Anne, for showing us how to do things with your Very good.
Well done.
Thank you.
Good. Thank you for sharing your staff objects as well.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Good.
It was fun.
Good. Thank you very much then, guys. So I'll see you tomorrow at 2 for the flowers. Now, if anybody needs the list, it's on Facebook as an event. One time by SWI. The events are all down listed on there. And one for tomorrow at 2. Okay. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Everybody,
Thanks, Anne.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye.
Almost made it on.